For years, I thought getting rich was about working harder, saving more, and following the advice everyone repeats online. So I did exactly that. I tried side hustles, investing strategies, productivity systems, business models, and countless money habits that were supposed to build wealth. Some of them barely moved the needle. Some were a complete waste of time. And a few delivered results so powerful that they completely changed the way I think about money. In this video, I'm breaking down everything I tried, what actually worked, what didn't, and the lessons I wish I had learned years earlier. Part 1, the myth of getting rich. Most people believe getting rich requires something special, a genius idea, a high-paying career, a lucky break that changes everything overnight. I believe that too. But after years of studying money, testing strategies, and watching how wealth actually moves, I found something that completely contradicted everything I thought I knew. The people quietly building real wealth weren't doing anything extraordinary. They weren't smarter than everyone else. They weren't working 20 hours a day. They were following a small set of principles over and over again with almost boring consistency. The principles weren't complicated. Following them was. So I decided to test everything myself: books, experts, investing strategies, side hustles, business models, spending habits, money psychology. Every strategy promised life-changing results. Every person online claimed they had finally cracked the code. I expected to find the one thing that would fast-track everything. What I found instead was humbling. Most strategies that sound brilliant on paper produce almost nothing in real life. Some consumed enormous amounts of time for minimal return. Others worked perfectly for the person selling them and failed completely for everyone else. And that became my first real financial education, understanding the difference between what looks like it works and what actually does. But then a few ideas kept appearing. They weren't exciting. They weren't trending. Most people scrolled past them because they seemed too basic to matter. Yet every time I studied someone who had built serious, lasting wealth, these same ideas showed up again. That pattern was impossible to ignore. And the first one changed how I think about money at the most fundamental level. Part 2, the ownership mindset. The first lesson that actually made a difference was this: wealthy people don't chase money. They chase ownership. Most people spend their entire working lives in the same invisible trap. Trade time for money, stop working, and the money stops too. The income feels real, but nothing is actually being built. For a long time, I thought the answer was simply earning more. A higher salary seemed like the obvious solution, but I kept noticing a pattern that made no sense at first. People earning 6 figures were anxious about money, while others earning far less were steadily building real security. The gap wasn't income. The gap was how they thought about every dollar after it arrived. Wealthy people treat money as a tool for acquiring things that produce more money. Ownership in businesses, equity in assets, investments that work while they sleep. Every time their income grew, they didn't upgrade their lifestyle first. They increased their ownership first. The lifestyle could wait. The assets could not. That one shift rewired how I made decisions. Instead of asking what something cost, I started asking what it would return. Instead of thinking about what money could buy today, I started thinking about what it could build over the next decade. That single question eliminated countless decisions I would have regretted and revealed opportunities I would have completely missed. The most important part is this: ownership is not reserved for people who already have money. The habit matters far more than the amount, because the moment you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an owner, your financial trajectory begins to move in a completely different direction. But ownership alone won't build wealth fast enough. The next lesson is where the real acceleration happens. Part 3, power of consistency. Once I understood ownership, I assumed results would follow quickly. They didn't. And that gap between expectation and reality led me to the lesson most people never truly accept. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. The pattern I kept seeing was almost predictable. Someone gets motivated, works hard for a few weeks, sees slow results, and stops. Then they find a new strategy, repeat the cycle, and wonder why nothing compounds. Wealth doesn't reward bursts. It rewards repetition stretched over years. Think about a tree growing in your backyard. You don't dig it up every month to measure the roots. You water it, protect it, and trust the process. Money compounds the same way. The people who build extraordinary wealth over time aren't constantly chasing new opportunities. They're patiently executing the same right behaviors, month after month, year after year, long after the excitement has faded. This is where most people silently fail. They invest for 3 months and quit when they don't see dramatic gains. They start a business and abandon it right before it would have found traction. They save consistently until an impulse purchase breaks the streak. They are treating a long game like a short one, and that mistake is extraordinarily expensive over time. Here's what genuinely surprised me. Small decisions compounded over years matter far more than big decisions made once. One strong investment won't change your life. One productive week won't either. But thousands of smart micro decisions made consistently over a decade can produce results that look almost impossible from the outside. The lesson isn't just to be consistent. It's to understand that consistency is where the real returns actually live. Part 4. The value principle. Consistent with what? After everything I tested and studied, the answer kept pointing to the same place. Relentlessly increasing your value to others. Every person I examined who had built real, sustainable wealth had found a way to become more useful to more people over time. They solved bigger problems. They built skills others couldn't easily replace. They created things people genuinely needed and were willing to pay for. For a long time, I thought wealth was primarily about financial strategy. But strategy is only the vehicle. Value is the fuel. The marketplace has always rewarded people who save others time, reduce their stress, solve their problems, or improve their lives in some meaningful way. The greater the value you create, the more opportunities tend to flow towards you naturally, without you having to force them. This is exactly why shortcuts are so dangerous. A shortcut focuses entirely on capturing a reward without building the reason the reward exists. It might work once. It rarely compounds. Real wealth is different. It builds when you become someone worth paying, investing in, and partnering with, and then use that position to acquire assets, grow ownership, and stay patient long enough for everything to multiply. Looking back, none of this was a secret. The principles were hiding in plain sight the entire time. Think like an owner. Stay consistent far longer than feels necessary. Increase your value to others. Let those habits compound across years, not weeks. Simple principles. Genuinely difficult to follow, but they work. That's what actually worked, not the flashy strategies, not the trending systems. A small set of principles, applied quietly and consistently over time. If you take one thing from this video, take this. Wealth is almost never built in a single moment. It's built through thousands of small decisions, each one pushing your future slightly further in the right direction.
Hey, if this video gave you something to think about, that's exactly why I make these every single day. Most of this stuff nobody ever teaches you, and I just think that needs to change. So if you got value today, hit subscribe.